Before we begin, I want to take a moment to honor the cultures behind the stories we are about to explore. The tales shared here come from many peoples, lands, and traditions. I do not change these stories to fit modern expectations or to align with today's social standards. Instead, I present them as they were told, sometimes beautiful, sometimes harsh, sometimes challenging. We are not here to judge the past, but to understand it, to listen, to learn, and to honor the ancestors who carried these stories forward. We also share stories from various religious traditions. These are presented in their historical and spiritual context, with respect for their beliefs that they represent. Every culture deserves respect, context, and acknowledgement, and this space is dedicated to doing exactly that. Story 1: Apollo and the Restoration of Harmony. When the great Olympian gods established their place upon Mount Olympus, each came to embody a different power within the ordered world. Among them shone Apollo, son of Zeus and Leto, born upon the sacred island of Delos, beneath the shelter of a palm tree. From the moment of his birth, Apollo's presence brought clarity where confusion lingered. As he matured, the radiant god became guardian of sunlight, music, prophecy, healing, poetry, and the measured harmony through which both nature and civilization found their rhythm. Yet one place upon the earth remained untouched by that order. At the foot of Mount Parnassus lay the ancient sanctuary of Delphi, where the primordial serpent, Python, guarded the sacred spring and the hidden wisdom of the earth. Python belonged to an older age, one that reached back before the Olympian gods established their rule. Seeking a place where humanity and the divine might meet in wisdom rather than fear, Apollo journeyed to Delphi and confronted the ancient serpent. Their encounter marked more than the passing of one guardian to another. When Python fell, Apollo did not destroy the sanctuary or silence its mysteries. Instead, he purified the sacred place and dedicated it to prophecy, where the Pythia, the priestess of Delphi, would speak inspired words to those who sought guidance from every corner of the Greek world. Thus, the very place once associated with uncertainty became the most revered oracle of ancient Greece. Yet Apollo's gift extended far beyond Delphi. With his golden lyre, first fashioned by Hermes from a tortoiseshell and later given to Apollo in reconciliation, he played melodies believed to reflect the hidden order of the cosmos itself. His music soothed grief, restored peace after conflict, and reminded gods and mortals alike that harmony could be heard as well as seen. Physicians invoked his healing power, poets called upon his inspiration before composing their verses, and travelers crossed seas to ask his guidance before beginning great undertakings. Even the changing seasons reflected his quiet influence, for Apollo's light revealed rather than overwhelmed, illuminating what had always been present but not yet understood. The Greeks remembered that order could not endure through strength alone. It also required beauty, wisdom, proportion, and the willingness to listen. Through music, prophecy, healing, and light, Apollo became one of the great restorers of balance within the Olympian world, revealing that harmony was not merely the absence of disorder, but the careful arrangement of many different voices into one living whole. Story 2: Vishnu, preserver of the cosmic order. When the universe first emerged from the mystery beyond time, the ancient Hindu tradition taught that creation was not left to continue by chance alone. It was sustained through an eternal rhythm in which the cosmos was continually created, preserved, dissolved, and renewed. Among the three great divine powers who governed this sacred cycle stood Vishnu, the preserver, whose purpose was to uphold Dharma, the divine order through which life, justice, and harmony endure. While the creator, Brahma, brought forth the worlds, and Shiva would one day dissolve them so that new creation could begin, Vishnu moved quietly through the ages, ensuring that existence itself remained balanced between those great moments of beginning and renewal. Ancient artists often portrayed him reclining peacefully upon the endless cosmic serpent, Ananta Shesha, whose 1,000 hoods stretched across the infinite waters before creation. From Vishnu's navel blossomed a radiant lotus upon which Brahma appeared to begin the work of creation, while Lakshmi, goddess of prosperity and abundance, remained beside him, symbolizing the blessing that accompany harmony and righteous living. Yet Vishnu's greatest work unfolded not from his heavenly throne, but from within the world itself. Whenever Dharma weakened and injustice threatened to overwhelm creation, Vishnu descended among humanity through his sacred avatars, each perfectly suited to the needs of its age. As Matsya, the great fish, he preserved life through the cosmic flood. As Kurma, the mighty turtle, he supported Mount Mandara upon his back so the gods and asuras could churn the ocean of milk and restore the treasures of heaven. As Varaha, the great boar, he lifted the earth herself from the cosmic waters after she had been dragged into the abyss. As Narasimha, half lion and half man, he appeared at the precise moment when no ordinary being could defeat tyranny. As Rama, he became the model of righteous kingship and unwavering duty. As Krishna, he guided princes, shepherds, and seekers alike while revealing the timeless wisdom preserved in the Bhagavad Gita. Across countless generations, Vishnu's descendants reminded humanity that the divine does not remain distant when the world begins to lose its way. Instead, preservation itself becomes an act of compassion. The universe itself continues because balance is continually restored before disorder can consume it entirely. Thus, the Hindu tradition remembered Vishnu not as a conqueror seeking endless victories, but as a quiet guardian whose steady presence allows stars to continue their course, rivers to nourish the earth, kingdoms to flourish through justice, and every age to receive exactly the guidance it needs. Through his endless care, creation remains not frozen in perfection, but lovingly sustained again and again across the immeasurable cycles of time. Story 3. Io, the source above all. Before the forest, Aotearoa whispered beneath the wind, before the oceans rolled against the islands, and before the stars found their places across the southern sky. Māori sacred tradition speaks of a reality beyond every visible thing. At the highest and most hidden level of existence was Io, the supreme source, eternal and without beginning, from whom all life, wisdom, and order ultimately flowed. Unlike many creator figures who walked among mountains or battled ancient monsters, Io remained beyond the ordinary world, dwelling in the highest of the spiritual realms where perfect harmony existed long before the unfolding of creation. From this sacred origin came the great ordering of the cosmos. The heavens were established in layered realms stretching ever upward, while below them the earth awaited its awakening. Through the unfolding generations of divine beings, the children of Ranginui, the Sky Father, and Papatuanoku, the Earth Mother, eventually brought light into the world by gently separating their tightly embraced parents, allowing forests, rivers, birds, and humanity to flourish within the space between heaven and earth. Yet behind every generation, every ancestor, and every act of creation remained the unseen perfection of Io, whose presence gave purpose to the unfolding order of existence. The highest priest, known as Tahunga, preserved sacred teachings concerning Io with great care, passing them from one generation to another only within the most solemn settings. These teachings spoke not only of creation beginnings, but of the responsibility to live in harmony with the world that had been entrusted to humanity. Every mountain possessed its own dignity. Every river carried ancestral memory. Every tree, bird, and wave belonged within a vast family of relationships extended back through the divine generations to the sacred origin itself. Because all life shared this ancestry, wisdom required humility rather than domination. The Maori understood that true authority did not arise from force, but from living rightly within the order already woven into creation. A leader who cared for the people strengthened that harmony. A family who honored their ancestors preserved it. A community who protected the land ensured that future generations would inherit the same balance they themselves had received. Thus, the highest order of the universe was never something humanity invented. It was something already present, quietly sustaining every living relationship. Io remained beyond ordinary sight, yet the harmony flowing through forests after rain, the rhythm of the tides, the songs carried across the valleys, and the bonds between generations all reflected the sacred order whose source lay beyond the visible world. The Maori remembered that creation flourishes when every part of life remains connected to the wisdom from which it first came. Story 4. Nyame and the Harmony of the Sky. Long before kingdoms flourished across the forests of West Africa, the Akan people remembered that the heavens themselves were governed by Nyame, the great sky god whose wisdom and authority extended over all creation. The endless blue above, the warmth of the sun, the nourishing rains, and the turning of the seasons all reflected this sustaining presence. Beside him, were Asese, Ya, the Earth Mother, who received every seed and nourished every living thing, and the countless Abosom, the divine spirits, through whom rivers, mountains, forests, and natural forces carried out their sacred responsibilities. Together, they formed a living universe where every part of creation possessed both purpose and relationship. In the oldest traditions, heaven and earth were once far closer than they are today. Humanity lived beneath the very nearness of the sky, receiving its blessing each day. Yet as people grew careless, they forgot the reverence owed to the sacred order around them. One beloved Akan story tells of an elderly woman preparing fufu, rhythmically pounding it with a great wooden pestle until, again and again, it struck the low-hanging sky above. Each blow disturbed Nyame's dwelling. Though patient for a time, Nyame finally withdrew the heavens upward beyond humanity's easy reach. The distance between heaven and earth was not created out of anger alone, but as a reminder that sacred things must be approached with humility and respect. Even so, Nyame did not abandon the world. The rains continued to fall, the sun continued to rise, crops still ripened beneath the changing seasons, and the Abosom continued their work throughout creation. Humanity remained connected to the divine, though no longer by effortless closeness. Instead, harmony now depended upon gratitude, wisdom, justice, and proper relationship. Akan kings sought to rule with fairness because authority reflected the order established by Nyame himself. Families honored their ancestors, remembering that each generation stood within an unbroken chain of responsibility. Farmers ordered thanks before planting and after harvest, recognizing that prosperity was never achieved through human effort alone. Throughout Akan life, balance was not maintained by domination over nature, but through respectful participation within it. Thus, Nyame became not only the ruler of the heavens, but the quiet guardian of a universe in which every blessing carried a corresponding responsibility. The sky remained high above the earth, yet its order continued to shape every river, every harvest, every family, and every kingdom below. The Akan remembered that harmony is not simply the absence of conflict. It is the faithful care of relationship, where humanity honors both the Creator above and the living world entrusted to its hands. Daily Thread for July 20th, the Cosmic Order. For 20 days, we have walked through the oldest memories humanity ever preserved. We have stood beside the first waters before creation, watched serpents coil around the foundations of the world, witnessed kingdoms born through divine struggle, grieved with gods who fell from unimaginable heights, and listened as cultures across the earth taught that every force finds its meaning through relationships with another. Today, those threads gather into a single tapestry. The Greeks remembered Apollo restoring harmony where uncertainty once ruled, transforming Delphi into a sanctuary where music, healing, and wisdom could flourish together. Hindu tradition looked to Vishnu, who quietly descends wherever Dharma begins to fade, preserving creation not through domination, but through compassionate restoration. The Maori spoke of Io, the sacred source beyond all things, from whom the order of heaven, earth, ancestry, and life itself ultimately flows. Among the Akan of West Africa, Nyame remained the great sky father whose wisdom continued to sustain the bond between heaven and earth, even after the two had grown apart. Though each tradition tells its story differently, they all arrive at the same enduring realization. The universe is not sustained by power alone. It is sustained by harmony. Stars continue their courses because the heavens remain ordered. Rivers nourish the earth because they stay within their banks. Forests flourish through countless relationships invisible to the casual eye. Communities endure when justice is paired with compassion, strength, and humility, knowledge and wisdom, and freedom with responsibility. The oldest storytellers understood that order is never something imposed once and forgotten. It is continually renewed through faithful participation. Every sunrise, every season, every generation, and every quiet act of goodness becomes another thread, helping to hold creation together. As tonight's fire settles into glowing embers, consider this. Where, in my own life, am I invited to become a keeper of harmony? What relationships need tending? What gifts need stewarding? What places need healing? And what quiet acts of faithfulness might help restore balance in the world around me? The ancient stories remind us that cosmic order is not only written among the stars, it is also woven each day through ordinary choices that honor truth, gratitude, compassion, and the sacred relationship entrusted to our care.